In life, we have different issues, but these issues are not strange to God. In today's video, I want to consider few women in the Bible with their issues and how some of them ended with those issues.
Miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness, my God, that is who you.
Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is still Ogenwadiliora. This channel is all about dreaming again. When dreams don't come to pass, what do? You dream again. So today we'll be looking at what are captioned women with issues. In life, we have our different issues, but we want to look at some of the women in the Bible, some of the issues they passed through. Today, we are not looking at their strength only. Some of them are looking at their mistakes so that with it, we also correct our own self. With it, we'll look at ourselves and see where we are falling short and be able to amend our own lives. There are lots of women in the Bible. It's only for me to choose this few that I want to talk about today was a struggle because there are lots of women, but I chose these few so that we look at them just like a preamble, like a guide for you to go and study other women in the Bible and see where you are falling short and make amendments with your life. In today's video, I'll be looking at the lives of 9 women. We want to look at some issues with these women. One fantastic thing about these women is that life is about choice. They all had their issues, but some perish with their issues, while others handed their issues or their lives to God, and God changed their story and made it a positive one. So it's not about having the issue, it's about how do you handle the issue. Will you die with your issue or will you hand it over to God? The first woman we'll be looking at is Delilah. Her story is in the book of Judges chapter 16 from verse 4 to 21. In that passage of the Bible, we learned that Samson fell in love with a woman called Delilah and he went in with her. But the Philistines, because for a long time prior to that event, they'd been looking for a way to capture Samson, who was then the judge of the Israelites, and they've not been able to capture him because God gave him a supernatural strength. But because Samson fell in love with the Delilah, and they now saw it as an avenue to capture Samson, and they came to Delilah and made her some promises of some money they were supposed to give to her if she will help them capture Samson. She pressurized Samson. She's asked him, tell me the source of your power. And at the long run, she achieved her purpose. She succeeded in finding out the secret of Samson, and she handed Samson over to the Philistine. The problem with Delilah is greed, love of money. We read in that place that Samson fell in love with her. Though the Bible never told us if she also fell in love with Samson or just Samson that fell in love with her. But she is the type of woman that just wants money. She is not there for the love. She wants money. I don't know if you are like Delilah, looking for your own selfish interest. You want to make your way. Delilahs are out there to destroy. What they want is money. They are after the money, not for love. Someone is in prison for false accusation because of you. Do you think God is happy? How will you feel? How do you think heaven feels when you've tried to destroy someone's life because of what you will get? People kill for anything to make money. But I say, are you like Delilah that kills to make money? The second woman we want to look at today is Jezebel. Jezebel, most of us know her as an evil woman. Her story actually started in the book of 1 Kings chapter 16 from verse 29. And you talk about how Ahab took over the throne and the evil that he did, and all because of his wife Jezebel. She introduced the worship of Baal. The Bible says she also built an Asherah pole. So she brought her God. This was a hidden woman, a princess from another kingdom. She came into the kingdom of Israel. One thing I love about that woman is her influence. She got married to King Ahab. Most queens will just sit at home or just sit there and become the queen. Whenever the king sent for them, they come so quiet, doing nothing. But this is, like I would say, an influencer. She's not just that quiet queen that other queens are. She's different. She came into the land, introduced the worship of Baal. She turned a whole nation to worship her God. She influenced the nation. Remember when her husband wanted the vineyard of Naboth? She did the wrong way, but she got that vineyard for the husband. As a woman, you are condemning Jezebel. But I love one thing about this woman. She came into the environment and turned the environment around for her God. She changed the environment. You as a woman learning from Jezebel. This is a woman, I would say her issue was the issue of power. She was drunk with power, but she willed that power, though now to the devil. You, which power have God given to you? A woman that made a whole nation to worship Baal. In my own environment, how am I influencing people for God? In my home, in my society, wherever I find myself, how am I influencing people? In your workplace, how are you influencing people to serve God? How are you using your God-given talent to influence the nation for God? Are you just there looking for what you get, what is wrong and what is not wrong? I'm a woman. This woman took that position and she turned it around and got people to worship her God. God have placed you in some crucial positions. How are you influencing the nation, your society, your workplace for God? The third woman we want to look at is Queen Esther. Her story is in Esther chapter 4 from verse 1. Here, Esther had become queen, the wife of King Ahasuerus. We heard of how Haman wanted to destroy the Jews, and he promised the king some amount of money he would put in the treasury if he would sign for the Jews to be destroyed. And everything else worked out for their good, and they went and they were drinking. But in Esther chapter 4, Mordecai heard of what happened, and the whole city was in trouble. They were crying, they were mourning. The Bible recorded that the Jews were fasting, they put on ashes, and they were weeping. Mordecai came to Queen Esther and told her what was happening. The Bible recorded in verse 4 of that chapter 4 that she was distressed when she heard the story. But there was an obstacle on her way. According to the law, which she took back to, she sent her servant to go and tell Mordecai. He said, according to the law, I can't go to the king except he sent for me. And Mordecai asked her a question. Do you think you will be spared if this killing starts? He said, if you do nothing, God will send help to the Jews from somewhere else. And he said one thing, as I said, do you know if God sent you there for such a time as this? The issue with Esther is the issue of being at ease in Zion. What can I do? There's problem. If she was distressed, but there was a constraint, and she felt I can't do anything. Woman, are you at ease? How did Esther get into the throne in the first place? How did she become a queen in the first place? It was by the favor of God to put her in that throne. There were so many competitors, but God granted her favor starting from the time of audition till she got into that place. God didn't make her queen to just go there and answer the wife of King Ahasuerus. God sent her there for this time because God knew. He said, the Bible said God knows the beginning from the end. He already knew that the time is coming. Haman will plot something like this. And God needed to place somebody, an insider inside the palace that he will use to counter the plot of Haman. And Esther was that person. And the time have come for her to act. And she started to give excuses, genuine excuses. But that was not why God sent her there. It was to liberate the children of Israel. What are you doing for God in that job? In that business, what are you doing? Mordecai said, do you know if God sent you for such a time as this? Do you think God just gave you that job for you to just go and make money? Do you remember how you get the job? Do you remember the processes, the challenges you faced before you got that job, before you got that business? And you gave testimony of how God saw you through. Wherever you are today, do you know God planted you there for his kingdom purpose? Yes, you make your money. Yes, you do other things. But when the issue come up for you to stand for God, are you quiet? Are you just saying, oh, please, let me just do my business and go. Let me just do my job. I don't want trouble. God said, I have placed you there for such a time as this. Are you speaking up for God? Are you shining as light? Are you just keeping quiet? God said, I've planted you there as an insider for such a time as this. All the miracle, all the storms for you pass through to get that promotion. All the storms you pass through to get that business. All the storms you pass through to get that lifting. God said, I didn't just do it for you to go there and relax. Don't be at ease. Rise up. There's an assignment for you in that place. He put it there for a purpose. Woman, where are your children? Where is your husband? Are they living the life God have ordained for them? Or you just go to work, make money, supply the need? No, God said no. I have sent you there for a purpose, for such a time like this. Thank God that after the warning of Mordecai, Esther came to her senses. What did she do? She had to align herself to the plan of God. She didn't just go and start breaking the law. We are not rebellious. There are some things that culturally you are restricted from doing. There are things that maybe for the law of the organization you are restricted. But what Esther did, he said, go and fast for 3 days. I and my maids, we will do the same. My maids, we will do the same. After 3 days, then I will take that risk. She didn't just get up and go. Maybe the law would have worked against her. Maybe she would have been killed. Remember what happened to Vashti? The king just sent for her. She didn't show up. And that was how she was dethroned. But because she went into fasting, seeking the face of God, how do I handle this? God, I need your help. God now helped her that after the fasting, when she went, instead of the king being angry with her, she found favor with the king and he was ready to do anything she wanted. Because she told her, what do you want, King Esther, when she invited him to the banquet? He said, even half of my kingdom, I will give to you. Because of when she have aligned herself to God. The fasting didn't change God. The fasting changed Esther. Because God already had a plan of what to do. I say he planted Esther as an insider into that palace for such a time like that. So the fasting acted as a wake-up call to Esther. As she aligned herself to God, God showed her what to do. And she did it, and the victory came for the people. You are in that job, you are in that career, you are in that business, you are in that home. Things are going wrong. Are you aligning yourself to God? Seek the face of God. I know there are some laws restricted. I don't support rebellion. But seek your face, connect yourself to God. And whatever he asks you to do, do it. But commit yourself to him. Align yourself to God. And change the kingdom for him. The fourth woman we'll be discussing about from the Bible is Eve. Eve in the book of Genesis chapter 3. We saw how the devil came to Eve. And the question he asked Eve was, did God really say you shouldn't eat from this tree? And Eve responded, yes, God said we shouldn't eat. And they continued the conversation until the devil succeeded in convincing her. Because verse 6 says she was convinced. Like Eve today, is the devil speaking to you? He does to each and every one of us. And the question, did God really say? Why not compromise your faith? That is the suggestion of the devil. The devil might come through friends. It might come through some relations. It might even come through some Christian brothers or sisters. And the question will be, did God really say? Are you not taking this Christianity too far? Just a little compromise, will it kill? That is the voice of the enemy. Have you not waited long enough? Why not do it this way? They may also tell you, I've done it and I didn't die. Why not just try it? Why not drop this your guard just for a little? Why? Why not try this other option? For how long will you wait for this fruit of the womb? For how long will you stand with this your Christianity? And it look like life is passing you by. That is the suggestion of the enemy. Did God really say? Did your Bible really say? They would advise you that even pastors are doing it. Will you let your guard by listening to the devil? Don't let your guard. Eve tried it. We saw the result. There's nothing good from the enemy. The God who gave you that word, stand by his word. God will never fail you. The fifth woman we want to consider today from the Bible is the mother of Moses, Jochebed. Her story is found in the book of Exodus chapter 2 from verse 1 to 10. This is a woman that will be faced by a law given by Pharaoh that every Israelite woman that gives birth to a son, the son should be killed, while the daughters should be spared. And in the period like this woman gave birth to a son. Have you imagined being in a place where you are pregnant and scared? Pregnancy most times should be something of joy. But these people, at the time when you are pregnant, you are scared because you don't know what will happen. If you give birth to a baby child, to a girl child, you rejoice. But if you become a male child, your bundle of joy, what was supposed to be a bundle of joy, will now be a source of pain because you know you are going to lose your child. Imagine the pain these women went through. If you had a baby and it died, baby, because of sickness, it's another story. But having someone snatch your child from you, just to go and kill that child, imagine the pain. This is the story, the situation this lady found herself. But because she is a woman of God, she aligned herself to God. Bible says she hid her baby, but we got to a time she could no longer hide it. What did she do? She put the baby by the riverside by the reeds and asked the sister to look after the baby and see what happens. Imagine the risk this woman went through. This is your baby, I'm a mother, and I know the pain. Taking that risk by handing your baby in that situation. But she took a step of faith. She didn't know what would happen. There were dead babies around her. She didn't give up her baby. Others were giving her. She hid her own. She tried as much as she could to hide the baby. Until that time came, God helped her to preserve that baby. She put the baby in the Nile. What will happen? What will be the fate of this baby? She never knew. She never knew Pharaoh's daughter would find that baby. But she just took chances. I believe there's something within her, because who gave her that idea? We never heard that anybody did that before her. But there was a divine idea from God. And she acted. Being that God is with that baby, God ordered the footstep of Pharaoh's daughter to go and take a shower at that period. And Miriam also saw what happened and rushed to her when they found the baby. Say, can I get you a Hebrew woman? Is God speaking to you concerning your situation? You are in pain. You are in critical situation. But are you listening to God to hear what he's saying? It might not be an audible voice. We never heard God told her, Jochebed, or do this with the baby. But I believe there was an inner voice. There was a prompting in her spirit to do something that have never been done before. And she did it. In the midst of dying babies, women having their children being killed, her own was preserved. In the midst of critical situation, in the midst of situation where people are dying, where things are not working out right, are you listening to the voice of God to hear his directive? God is ready to preserve your job. He's able to preserve your children. He's able to preserve your child. He's able to preserve your marriage. He's able to preserve your business. Even though there are dying businesses around, but are you ready to align yourself, to listen to his voice, so that you'll be able to do what he wants you to do? Don't give up because others are dying. She would have given up. Immediately she gave birth to the baby, she would have surrendered her baby. She never knew how possible this would be to keep this baby. But she took few steps. She took that risk. And she ended up with a living baby in an environment where people were losing their babies. You can end up with a living business. You can end up with a living marriage. You can end up with a successful marriage. You can end up with profitable children in the midst of that society where others are losing theirs. If you will listen to God, like the mother of Jesus told, he said, whatever he tells you to do, do it. Listen and do what he wants you to do, like Jochebed did. The number 6 woman we'll be discussing today is Rebecca, the wife of Isaac. Her story started in Genesis chapter 25, verse 19 to 26, and even up to chapter 27. We saw Rebecca when she was pregnant for her sons. The Bible said she noticed that some things going on. There was some discomfort within her. She went to inquire of the Lord. And in the process of inquiring of the Lord, God gave her some word. He said there are 2 nations in your stomach. And the concluding part is that the younger, said the elder will serve the younger. That was the word God gave to her. And she treasured this word in her heart. Bible never told us she told her husband, we don't know. But we saw towards the end, when Isaac was about to die, he called his eldest son, Esau. And Esau, come, I want to bless you. I'm about to die. Get me some venison or whatever, cook for me. Let me eat and bless you. And Bible recorded that while Isaac was giving this instruction to Esau, Rebecca overheard it. And because there was a word already given to her, that the elder will serve the younger. I believe she believed this is the time to make it happen. What did she do? She got Jacob to deceive Isaac so that he will obtain the blessing. He did a fantastic thing. She succeeded. Isaac gave the blessing to Jacob, courtesy of Rebecca's manipulation. But I want to ask, if Rebecca never suggested to Jacob to go and deceive his father to get the blessing, do you think that blessing would have never gotten to Jacob? Do you think that blessing would have never gotten to Jacob? Do you think the word of God would have failed? Let me give you another example. There was a man of God, he's still living. He said when his father was about to die, he sent for his eldest brother. Say, you are the first son, come, I'm about to die, I want to bless you. But say for whatever reason, they don't know. The elder brother delayed. For days the father waited. He was the black sheep of the family. Though he was there with the father, but he was like the black sheep of the family. He said, for what this happened many years ago when there was no phone and all those, he just let her write him. He said his father waited and waited for many days. The eldest brother was not showing forth. What did he do? The father just looked at him and said, you stubborn boy, come here, let me kneel down, let me pray for you. And he prayed for him and blessed him. He passed the blessing to him. Because originally, God has ordained that he would be the one to take that blessing. The mother never manipulated him. He was from a polygamous family. That's what I say. Do you think if Rebecca had not manipulated, got Jacob to deceive his father, do you think that blessing wouldn't have gotten to her? Rebecca manipulated it. Rebecca helped God. I don't think if he never did that, that God's blessing will not still go to Jacob. God have a way of doing his own thing. What I want us to pick with Rebecca is trying to help God fulfill his promise. Trying to help God. In what way are you trying to help God? She tried. She succeeded. But remember, Rebecca never saw Isaac again, never saw Jacob again till she died. Don't help God. God doesn't need our help. She did the miracle. It worked. But does God need our help? Woman, are you trying to manipulate your way? Because God has given you a word, then you want to bring the word into fulfillment? The one who gave the word is able to bring the word into fulfillment. Look at the case of Elijah with the prophet of Baal. He said, call upon your God, the God that will bring down fire. Let it be God. The prophet of Baal did all manner of things. Nothing happened. When it got to the time of Elijah, Elijah said, build the altar. They built the altar. They put the animals. The one thing Elijah said, put water, get lots of water and pour it on the altar. Elijah made it difficult for God to operate, humanly speaking. In today's motivational speaking, they would have told us, get dry wood, maybe put some fuel, don't put the fire, but put some fuel, get the fire, at least prepare the ground so that when God starts, it will just take off. But Elijah made it hard for God. Because how can you bring, because a fire, you want to set up fire, and you are putting water. Did the fire fall or not? At the end, the fire fell, consumed both the water and the sacrifice. Why are you trying to help God? He promised you that job. Now you've gone to get the job, and they are giving you conditions that are ungodly, and you want to start doing them because you want to help God. Do you think the God that promised cannot fulfill his promise? If God said it, he will bring it to pass. You may walk your way through, but you might not enjoy it at the end. Because sometimes you might think you heard correctly without knowing that God have another purpose. Are you trying to help God? Sarah tried the same thing. God promised she and Abraham that they were going to have a son. When they waited, things wasn't really working the way they wanted. It looked like this thing can't happen anymore. We are getting older. And she gave her maid to Abraham. And we saw the outcome. Did the miracle work? Yes. Did they have a son? Yes. But was it the child of promise? We saw the pain and other things that came out of it. Woman, don't help God. If your issue is trying to walk your way, God has said it, no matter how difficult the situation is, God is able to bring it to pass. You might look like you succeed, but that is not the plan of God. If God didn't ordain it, you will get your own blessing, but it will come with sorrow. The seventh woman I'll be talking about today is the woman by the well side. Her story is found in the book of John chapter 4, from verse 4 to 26. This woman, I'll call her the woman with the issue of husbands. Jesus was sitting by the well side when this woman came to fetch water from the well, and they started discussing. In the course of their discussion, Jesus asked her to go and get her husband. She was honest with him by telling him that she doesn't have one. And Jesus confirmed by telling her that she had married 5. And they all were not together. I don't know if she divorced them or they divorced her. But they were no longer together. And say even the 6th one she was with was not her husband. This woman had issue with seeking for love. She had a thirst because Jesus said, if you drink of this water I will give you, we thirst no more. She was trying to use men to quench her thirst. There was a void, there was an emptiness in her. She kept marrying these men, and they were not quenching the thirst, and she kept leaving them. Until Jesus filled that vacuum, no man could stay with her. Are you a woman that have a thirst with vacuum in your heart, trying to go into one relationship or the other, and you keep blaming the men? If you have asked her, she would have told you that we men are problem, but she was actually the problem. Are you looking for love where there's a void in your heart? If you have a vacuum in your heart, if you have a void in your heart, it will be difficult to keep a meaningful relationship. It's like putting water in a container with hole in it, trying to fill it. As long as the hole is in the container will not be full because the water will keep going out. Do you have a hole in your heart as a woman? Maybe your past experience, maybe what you've gone through, maybe your background. And God said, you know your issue, come to me. You're trying to use your spouse or whoever to fill that void. They can't. Until God touch that innermost place, until God bring a healing, then people can stay. No human being can fill that vacuum. God say, I need to fill that vacuum in your life, but give me space. Don't try to use relationship or other things to fill it. The 8th woman we want to talk about is the woman with the issue of blood. Her story is found in the book of Mark chapter 5 from verse 25 to 34. The woman with the issue of blood. In this place, the Bible recorded that this woman had issue of blood. She was bleeding. And one interesting thing about that verse I love the most, it said that she has spent all she had going from one doctor or the other, looking for help, but there was no solution. Until she heard about Jesus passing, she had to go and touch the hem of his garment and was made healed. One thing I love about this woman is this. She was having this problem. She spent all she had with physicians, but she never gave up on hope. She never lost hope. When she heard about Jesus, she was willing to give it one more try. Are you giving up on your situation? Have you tried different means and it looked like it's not working? God said, don't give up. This woman never gave up. She kept looking. She kept pressing on. Are you giving up? Do you think the word of God can come to pass again? Don't give up on your situation. Be happy. Enjoy life while you are waiting for the solution to come. But never lose hope completely. You might have tried all. I've heard of people giving birth after 20-something years. We heard of breakthrough coming after many attempts. No, most good things doesn't come that easy. There are people that waited, people that did over and over and over and over before they finally get it. Don't give up too soon. Your breakthrough is closer than where you began. Don't give up too soon. Don't give up on that child. Don't give up on that marriage. Don't give up on that career. Don't give up on whatever God has promised you. The 9th woman I want to talk about is you. What is your own issue? We've seen all these women. We've discussed about them. What is your own issue? What are you passing through? I said this is just a guide for you to go through, and you can study other women in the Bible and all our godly women around you. Testimonies of others. What is your own issue? Do you think God cannot handle it? I say some of these women, like Jezebel and others, we saw them dying with their issues because she was like Jezebel. She is a woman of influence. But what did she do with the power and the influence God has given to her? Is to turn the nation and people away from God. Delilah destroyed a man. Some of them died with their issues, but some handed these issues or weaknesses to God, and God used it positively. What is your own issue? Are you ready to hand it over to God today to use you? Looking at these women and others that you will study, we all have our own issues. Mine might be different from yours. Yours might be different from others. But there's no issue God cannot handle. Hand him over your problem and you see him take over today. Thank you for watching today. I believe you'll be blessed. Until next time. Bye.